Warriors Fast Break on HBC TV 25 is brought to you by Jefferson Pub and Grill. Meet me at the levee for fabulous food and drinks at Jefferson Pub and Grill. Come check out their great nightly specials and limited time offer menu. Jefferson Pub and Grill. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Warriors Fast Break on HBC TV 25. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thanks for joining us. Joined by Scott Ballard, the women's head coach at Winona State, and thank you for joining us once again, and Happy New Year.
Well, same to you guys and our viewers. I hope they all had a wonderful holiday season. It's good to be back.
All right, we'll start out with kind of a fun question. Well, maybe fun question. I don't know. We'll find out when we get the answer here. To start out, from a coach's perspective, how does the holiday break go? How much of a break do you give yourself from basketball, spend time with family before you start thinking about the season again?
Well, NCAA Division II level, they require all of us, all Division II schools, have a 7-day window of no activity. And normally it's December 20th to 26th, but from year to year it depends on when the 20th falls on as far as the day of the week, but it'll be 7 continuous days. So we played at home, I think it was Upper Iowa on the 19th, and we came back and started practice on the 28th. So our players had 8 days, and my wife and I, we flew down to Texas for Christmas with some family and grandkids that we only get to see a couple times a year. So went by fast, had awesome weather down there, 75 to 85 degrees.
Nice.
Played a little golf, did some swimming. It did not feel like Christmas when it's 85 degrees, but good quality time with family, and you know, that's Christmas past now, and it's back to the grind.
All right, so let's talk about the grind. And the first game that you had back was against Northern State, and unfortunately it was a loss. We'll take a look at some highlights that we have as we talk about the 60 to 55.
Highlights?
There were some highlights. Absolutely, there were some in there. I have to ask the cliche question though, because it always comes up saying, well, a loss is good for a team that's been on a winning streak like that.
I've heard.
What's your thought on that?
Okay. Kayla, my guest today, she could also confirm what I shared with the team the day after that loss, because I heard it from parents, I heard it from fans. And I told our team, I said, okay, now that you've lost, do you feel like our game on Sunday against Morehead, do you feel like you have more pressure to win or less pressure to win because of the loss last night? And they all agreed they have more pressure to win. So you don't need to lose unless you're getting complacent, you're getting arrogant, you're getting prideful, you stop preparing the way that you had been before. That wasn't our case. Our case, the reason we lost that game was because Northern came in, and you know, their defense and their style of play disrupted our shooting. It disrupted our execution. It was a physical, rough game. The strength of their game is just taking shots in the lane and pound it and crash the glass, the backboards, and we couldn't make them turn it over enough. And we didn't shoot well enough to make up for them out-rebounding us by 13. So I give them the credit. You know, we had some good looks that we normally hit, but sometimes the ball doesn't go in the basket as often as you want it to. We did, during the course of that game, we did miss 7 bunnies or layup opportunities that, you know, were contested to some degree, but shots that we feel like we should make, you know, more than half the time. And we also missed 7 free throws. And if you're leading a nation in free throw shooting, you've got to do better than 13 out of 20 at the line. So we had our opportunities, but it was a humbling experience and an awakening for us with regards to how important it is to rebound. Not just be in front of somebody, but to get physical and box them out, back them out if you need to, because second chance points cost us that game at the defensive end. But we learned a lot from it, and lo and behold, the very next day against Morehead, it was a very similar type of game.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's still talk a little bit about Northern State. From our perspective as broadcasters looking at the game, it seemed like things were a little bit different for you in the fact that you relied a little bit more on your starters than you usually do. Maybe didn't go to the bench as much, didn't get as much bench production.
Mm-hmm.
Did that kind of factor into the game?
No, well, the reason that our bench didn't play as many minutes is because we didn't have a 30-point win.
Right.
And people get spoiled. The 12 games leading up to that, we had averaged winning by nearly 30 points a game. So it's easy to play everybody and get more minutes, but you get in these physical type, close style, grinded out games, and it's all about matchups. And our bench didn't. We got 1 point from our bench in that game against Northern, and we only got 2 points against Morehead from our bench. But they're better than that. The shooting's contagious. You shoot the ball well early in the game, it seems like everybody just kind of follows suit. Same thing with free throw shooting. But on the other hand, the flip side, if you miss some bunnies early, your best shooters don't hit open looks like we're accustomed to. They start to lose some confidence, or they get hesitant about shooting it again, and all of a sudden, everybody starts struggling. So it's a good learning experience. It doesn't feel good,
right,
but it's a good learning experience for us, and something that we'll use to make us better down the road.
So then the Morehead game is a 52-49 win. Did you feel that a weight had been lifted from the team in getting that win because they felt the pressure in that game against Morehead?
Well, it wasn't pressure of playing Morehead. You got to remember, these two teams we did not beat last year. We hadn't beaten either one of these teams in 2 years. Mm-hmm. And last year, Morehead beat us twice and averaged 83 points a game. And their post people just had their way with us. So for us to hold them to 49 points, Stressy at 36, they ended our season last year into February. She only had 6 points yesterday. Our post defense was much improved. We still just struggled making shots and getting open looks. And we probably dribbled way too much, but the bottom line is we found a way to win. Foley made some plays in the last 2 minutes to get us some momentum, and once we got ourselves in position to win the game, we did everything right. We didn't have any breakdowns on defense. We took care of the ball. We made our free throws. We communicated. We used the new timeout rule in women's basketball this year, where in the last minute, if you call timeout, you can advance the ball down to the hash mark at your end of the floor. That happened 3 times in the last minute. So we were prepared for a close game. It was just a matter of getting ourselves in position to win the game, right, instead of having to try to play catch up like we did against Northern.
I want to ask you about that rule because we brought that up a couple of times, that it was good that you had those timeouts at the end of the game in order to do that. How much is there any pressure, or is there a concerted thought to keep a timeout in your pocket just in case you get to that point at the end of the game?
Yeah, there is, because you have a maximum of 3 timeouts a second half, 2 30s and a full, if you don't use them in the first half. And knowing that sideline last minute advancement of the ball for timeouts, that was important for us, because we had 2 timeouts in the last minute and a half, and we used them at the right time, and made our players aware of how to properly call timeout and advance the ball. If you get a rebound and you bounce the ball or you pass the ball, you no longer can advance it after a timeout. So we've not had very many close games, so it was important for our players to be reminded of that, so that we did the right thing.
All right, and final thing, you talked a little bit about Alexis Foley, but she had a very good weekend for you guys.
She did. Her and Kayla Timmerman both. We leaned on them heavily, at both ends of the floor. Foley made some big plays for us in the last 2 minutes offensively. Kayla had a big block the last possession that Morehead had the ball trying to, I think we were up 1, and they took a shot and she got a block. And so they both were major contributors, for us this weekend. And that's not a surprise. That's why they're here, and and we plan to take advantage of that as much as possible.
All right, Sioux Falls and Minnesota State are next for the Warriors. In fact, the next 4 games are on the road for Winona State. We're going to take a break here on Warriors Fast Break, and when we come back, Kayla Timmerman will be our guest right after this. Warriors Fast Break on HBC TV 25 is brought to you by Jefferson Pub and Grill. Meet me at the levee for fabulous food and drinks at Jefferson Pub and Grill. Come check out their great nightly specials and limited time offer menu. Jefferson Pub and Grill.
Go beyond entertainment with HBC GigaWorld and get the broadband experience. Video chat without buffering. Stream your favorite shows and movies with TV to go. Dominate your online games and more with gigabit internet speeds. Watch over 300 video channels, including high definition, sports, HBO, Cinemax Stars Plus, Encore Showtime, and more. Call friends and family with reliable, crystal clear, unlimited local and domestic long distance phone service. Experience broadband the way it's meant to be with HBC GigaWorld. Visit hbci.com to get started today.
Tune in for the Sports Buzz every Tuesday at 5:30 as a panel of local sports journalists tackle the hottest topics on everything from local high school and collegiate sports to regional discussion about the Twins, Brewers, Vikings, and Packers. With the Power Play Fantasy Football Challenge to the Rant of the Week and NFL Pick'em, the Sports Buzz is fast-paced and sure to entertain. That's new episodes of the Sports Buzz every Tuesday at 5:30 with replays only on HBC TV 25. Welcome back to Warriors Fast Break, brought to you by Jefferson Pub and Grill here on HBC TV 25. Kayla Timmerman now joins us. Thanks for joining us again.
Thanks for having me.
And first question will be the first question I ask Coach. Holiday break, how long did you spend away from basketball, hopefully not too long, before you kind of got back mentally into the game?
Unfortunately, I was kind of nursing that injury that I had over break, so I was kind of away from the game. It was pretty tough, but I still did, upper body and biked every day. And, I tried to get back better than ever.
All right. Well, again, how is the injury going?
It's a lot better. I think we've got on top of it. I have good days and bad days, and we always want, as Coach says, the good days to be on game days, and so far it's working. So, yeah, it's just a lot of, give and take. You have to rest it and ice it and stay on top of it. All
right. Player perspective, unfortunately, the loss against Northern State, Coach said that, maybe that put a little bit of pressure on the Morehead game. Obviously, you don't like to lose. That's why you play the games. But was the loss at all a good thing for the team?
I think it kind of made us refocus a little bit. Made us realize that we're not invincible. We are, no matter what, however you come out, we have to come out stronger. As much of, I don't know if it was a big wake-up call, but I think it just helped us refocus, and it made us more hungry for that Morehead game, too, and it made it that much better.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about you personally in the games. I know that when we talked the last time, you said that when you were in high school, you were more of a three-point shooter, but also kind of defense first. It seems that the three-point game is coming back to you again. Knocked down a couple this weekend against Northern and Morehead. Are you feeling a little bit more comfortable shooting the ball long distance?
Yeah, I've worked on it and focused on it, and I was talking to Coach about it before we came over here, and it's just about taking the shot at the right time and not taking 25 seconds left in the shot clock, but whenever we need it, that last second shot. So yeah.
How is it to have her shoot from beyond the line to extend her game?
The coach is feeling more comfortable about her taking it. Okay. But it's like she's a really good passer. And she's got the best range of our post people shooting from out there. And so, having her at the high post at times, and then Hannah or Emily Worth or Jenny Whelan down closer to the basket. Hannah's a really good offensive rebounder, so is Jenny Whelan. So if we're keeping them close to the basket, that gives them more opportunities to get second chance points. And at the same time, you have, a quality three-point shooter and passer out top the key. So it complements, both of our post positions as well as our guards on the perimeter.
All right, I want to talk about what we see from you before games or right before tip-off. You're the one in the middle of the circle telling everybody, here we go. What is it that you're saying in there, and how do you feel about having that position on the team?
It's just a chant to get everyone going and to kind of remind ourselves that we want this game more. And I just love getting everyone pumped up, and it gets me way more jacked, I think. I think maybe that's why I'm winning the tips more, because I'm so excited and I have that adrenaline going. But no, it's really fun, and it gets, you know, even the bench players and the girls who aren't playing right now, it gets them pumped too, and it gets our fans pumped. So you
inherited that role from Katie Zebsik from last year. Do you kind of take anything of what she did before?
Yeah, we use the same chant.
Yeah. It's a routine. Yeah.
Yeah, just, you know, I think whatever worked, we kept it. So.
Okay, I want to go back to your high school days for just a second. We talked about how at Wayzata you had the best run in the state tournament in school history. Got fourth place. Did you get, I know that some of those games are played at Target Center or Williams Arena. Did you get to play in either one of those venues?
Yeah, we played in Target Center. That was probably one of the coolest, you know, experiences of my life. Unfortunately, we lost, and that was to Foley's team, actually. But no, I think, you know, that was one of the coolest experiences, and you get to take it away and be the winningest team in Wayzata history. It was awesome, too. So.
Does that ever get brought up in the locker room?
Sometimes, yeah. But no, I mean, Foley and I, you know, we love each other, and it's in the past, and we still give each other crap about it sometimes, but it is what it is.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the team aspect, because that's what everybody says when they come in here. That's what everybody says on social media, is it's this team first, family first is one of the slogans for the team. What is it? Is this any different than any other team that you've been on, how close this team is?
Yes. You know, out of all the teams I've been on, I've never been on a team as close as us. You know, last night we were watching the Packer-Viking game together, and it was half the team was in purple, half the team was in green and gold. But no, I've never been on a team that's as close, and everyone has your back. No matter how, you know, good or bad you're practicing, there's always someone there to pick you up, and I think that's one special thing about our team, is that everyone, you know, respects and loves each other the same.
All right, I have to have one question away from basketball all the time. I found an old interview that you had done with the newspaper back in your high school days, and it asked about what are some of the items that are on your bucket list, and maybe Coach doesn't want to listen to this, but some of the things that you said that you wanted to do before is get on water skis or go skydiving. Have you done any of those yet?
The water skis I tried, and it really wasn't that successful. Skydiving, I'm not a big flyer anymore, so, which is ironic because I have to fly a lot now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it kind of changed.
Changed that. Maybe relieved to hear that she's not.
Well, I wish on that bucket list it was, you know, when your eligibility is expired and when it's not expired. So maybe we need to revise it a little bit.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Kayla, this week, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us here on Warrior Fast Break. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, the Mets head coach Todd Eisner will join us. We'll be back right after this. Warriors Fast Break on HBC TV 25 is brought to you by Jefferson Pub and Grill. Meet me at the levee for fabulous food and drinks at Jefferson Pub and Grill. Come check out their great nightly specials and limited time offer menu. Jefferson Pub and Grill.
Integrate your business communications services with HBC. You'll be connected to the area's leader in internet and data solutions with speeds up to 1 gigabit, not to mention the most customizable and reliable telephone network in the area. Your customers and guests will enjoy crystal clear video and audio throughout your business. HBC Professional Solutions customers receive consulting and IT support, conferencing solutions, fast reliable cloud service, and more. Call 888-474-9995 to experience the HBC difference today.
We chose HBC because they're a local company. They have a big audience in Winona, which is the geographic group that we're looking for. Mel is very easy to work with. She's genuinely concerned about how our money is being spent, and she does everything she can to make sure we get the most for our money. She takes care of us. So whenever there's a problem, which is rarely, I know that I can go to her and she's going to take care of it.
To see how HBC advertising can help your company, call Melanie at 507-474-5802. Looking for a fast, effective way to get potential applicant eyes on your current job opening? Then check out HBC Job Finder. Not only will the position be featured on the HBC Job Finder television commercial, it'll also be posted to jobs.hbci.com, the official HBC Job Finder website. It's a great resource for both employers and individuals looking for a new job or just a career change. For more information or to post your employment opportunity on HBC Job Finder, call 507-474-5802.
And welcome back to Warriors Fast Break on HBC TV 25. Time now to focus on the men's team. Coach Todd Eisner joins us. Thank you for coming on.
Sure.
And happy holidays to you. I know that the last time I talked to you, it was right before the break, and we asked you, how do you like the break? And you said you'd rather not have it. And you wanted to make sure that your players get in and get some practice in during the break. First question I asked Scott Ballard in the first segment of this show was, from a coaching perspective and from you personally, how much time do you take away from basketball, clear your mind, spend time with family before you get back to the season?
Well, this year was a little unique, obviously with my wife and I still being in different states. I spent the week off down in Nebraska and spent some time with her and saw some friends back in Fremont, and so it was good to get away. I think a typical 7-day break will include some recruiting. There's great high school basketball going on right before Christmas, and so in the future we'll have an opportunity to go out and see some high school games during this time, which, with our guys getting a deserved break, it's time for us still to work and see some future Warriors, and I know starting next year that'll be something that we'll do during that time. Okay,
and then talk a little bit about the players' break when they came back. How did they seem prior to the games that were this weekend?
I thought they came back in a decent shape, for lack of a better word. But anytime you give anybody off 8 days, you're always very concerned about what were they able to do while they were home. Did they have access to a facility? Did they have access to a weight room? Did they get any work in terms of basketball and cardio and those type of things? And I thought we handled it okay. And then we were fortunate to be able to have the Monday through Friday to get their legs back a little bit and get back into doing the things that we had been doing prior to Christmas.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the games that you had then this weekend. Northern State and Minnesota State Mankato. Will roll some highlights of those games as we talk about them. First, the Northern State game had a lead in the first half, and then I guess ask you what happened in the second half.
Yeah, it was really a tale of two halves. I mean, we played as well as we played really on the defensive end of the floor in particular. For that first 20 minutes, I thought we were really locked in. I thought we had really good energy, and the second half started on a negative tone really on both ends of the floor. We turned it over on the first 3 possessions offensively of the second half, and they got going from the 3-point line. And they're a very talented shooting team, and we did a great job. They were 3 of 12 from the 3 in the first half, and we gave up 7 threes in the second half. And along with those 7 threes, we also fouled them on 2 3-point shots, and they made all 3 free throws. For the game, we actually fouled them on 3 3-point shots, and they were 9 of 9 from the free throw line. So when you add that up, they actually probably got 13 threes when you count the free throws that we fouled them on, and that's just way too many opportunities at the arc. And I thought the longer the game went on in the second half, and we struggled to make shots on our own, our effort defensively, mentally, not so much physically, but mentally in terms of not giving up the things that we wanted to take away, really kind of fell off. And so that put us in a bad spot. We rallied, got the lead, and then still didn't make stops at the end of the game when we needed to.
Yeah, one of the players that really caught fire for Northern was that Sky Warwick, number 55. What happens in your mind with the team when there's a player? I mean, obviously it wasn't a surprise. Warwick was one of their leading scorers coming into the game, but he struggled in the first half, and then he was just lights out in that second half. What do you do when you have a player that suddenly catches fire and now you have to try to focus your attention on him?
Yeah, and that's the problem you have when you've a team with multiple weapons. They've got some bigs that take up size inside, and we have to help off with their screening actions. And Paterka was a really good player for him, number 22, and then Sky got going, and so once he makes 1 or 2, he puts you in a position where he's got his confidence going, his range starts to extend. I know he made one in transition from about 24, 25 feet that we didn't get up on him quick enough, and then you're asking for trouble. And he was the one that made the big 3 to tie the game with about 2:45 to go, and so we just ran into a guy that caught fire, and we struggled to find him, and we had to caught helping in the post a little bit and lost him, and kind of caused our own problems a little bit in the second half.
What are some of the positives that you're taking away from the Northern State game?
Well, the positives are is if we could just extend how long we play the type of defense that we played in the first 20 minutes, I think, moving forward, we have a chance to compete at a high level. I don't think it's a physical thing. I think we're playing hard physically, but when we break down mentally in terms of the scouting report and lose guys that we can't lose, we seem to get hurt on every single possession when we break down mentally and someone comes open free. And we've got to minimize our inability to break down defensively from a mental standpoint and give up easy looks.
Let's move on then to the Minnesota State Morehead game, and you look at the score, 93-72, and it's a team that was number 4 in the country coming in. But again, in the first half, you played them very well. Again, what are positives that you take from the Minnesota State Morehead game?
I thought we competed really for about 30 minutes with about 9 minutes to go in the game. It got away. We had to cut it to 5, and Corey got a wide open 3 off of a set play that we drew up and didn't knock it down. It was a great look. We want him shooting that every time he gets that look. But from that point on, I think they went on a 12-2 run and broke it from 5 to 15, and then we just really never got our bounce back to be able to cut the lead. And they proved why they're a top 10 team in the country. They didn't get rattled any time that we tried to make a charge and knock down big shots, even with people in their face. And obviously Sevely inside is a load and got to the line 16 times. And so they're just a difficult team for us to match up with. Like I said, I thought for the most part we competed. But physically, we just wore down throughout the 40 minutes to get that lead for them to go from about 5-7 to 15-18 in the final result.
You mentioned Corey Jeffson. He got his first starts of the season because Josh Mongan has been injured. How did you feel his play was getting his first starts of the season?
I thought Friday or Saturday, I guess it was, I thought he had really, really good bounce in the first half, and then I thought in the second half he didn't have the same energy, the same focus, and he played 30 minutes, I think, on Saturday, which is, he was probably playing 15 to 20 minutes prior to that, and so I don't know if it was a fatigue situation or not. I mean, he'd have to answer that, but I didn't think he had the same mental, focus that he had in the first half. And I thought he did some good things yesterday. I thought he got some good shots. He just didn't knock them down. Corey's a very good shooter. We want him shooting the ball. And yesterday was just one of those days where, really for us as a team in the second half offensively, we really, really struggled to be efficient. I think we shot 29% in the second half on Saturday and 35% in the second half yesterday. And anytime you do that against good teams, you're going to put yourself in a difficult spot.
In the Morehead game, there were several times during the game where you substituted 5 players. You had a complete kind of line change in there. Was that to keep fresh legs on the floor and try to run with Minnesota Morehead towards the end?
I thought, we purposely came out on Saturday against Northern and felt like the veterans were going to be the ones that either, made us or broke us. And I thought we played, I think, all the 5 starters between 28 and 34 minutes. So going into Sunday's game, we felt like we were going to need to use a little more depth, whether it was 5 at a time or just using our depth and not having the starters play as many minutes. It's a tough thing to ask of them to go back-to-back nights. I mean, you got to get used to it. It is what it is. It's not a surprise to us, but it's still, the more depth I think you can have in this league, I think it's beneficial to you, playing the back-to-back nights with the travel and everything else. So we want to build depth, but I'm not going to play people just because we need depth. I mean, they've got to earn that time, and we've got some good production from our bench at times, and we're hoping for more consistency.
Let's talk about some of the players on the bench that have come off. Is there anybody that's maybe that first off the bench that you want to get in the game right away to see what he can do to spark a team? Well,
I think obviously with the lineup that we have now, I think Corey was someone that was building into that role a little bit before Josh got hurt. Connor Flack, I think, as a freshman, has given us some good games and plays like a freshman at other games. And then, Isaiah, I think, is getting used to the role. I'm not sure he's thrilled with the role of coming off the bench, but, that's the role he has right now. And, we need Isaiah to be productive for us, I think, for us to have a chance to be successful. And, to me as a coach, and young people don't buy into this theory, but for me as a coach, I don't really care who starts. The most important people are going to be on the floor at the end of the game when the game's on the line. And, Isaiah is somebody that we're going to count on coming off the bench. Connor's someone we'll count on coming off the bench. I think Charlie Kuntz has given us some good minutes at times at a post position. And then you see, Tommy Gecke and Nick Arns. And Nick's playing on one leg. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, he's a really tough young man. He's always locked in mentally to what we do, very smart and intelligent basketball player. But he's limited, and it's by no fault of his own. I mean, he's literally playing on one leg. And so, we've got some pieces that we can use. And then it's just a matter of picking the right day for them to help us move forward.
I have to ask about the Josh Mongan injury. I've heard meniscus is the diagnosis for him. Is it a month? Is it the rest of the season? What's your prognosis?
Well, we'll know better tomorrow. He has surgery tomorrow down in Milwaukee, back home, and Wednesday, back home in Milwaukee, and so we'll know more once we get in there. I mean, right now they feel it's going to be a normal, for lack of a better word, meniscus repair, where I think they're going to clip it, and if they clip it and just remove the loose piece, then his recovery time should be shorter. Best case scenario, 2 weeks. possibly 4 weeks, but you don't know until you get in there. And so we're keeping our fingers crossed that we can get it back as soon as possible.
All right. Well, thank you for coming in, and good luck this weekend on the road. Sioux Falls and Minnesota State, 2 big games coming up.
Yeah, big games. They're all going to be big games, 4 in a row on the road coming up here the next 2 weekends.
All right. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for joining us on Warriors Fast Break. We'll see you next week here on HBC TV 25.